But no, without further ado, I would like to pass it on
Yes.
to JC.
I should be mic'd up. There it is. Thank you, Hunting. So my name is JC. I'm Ludia's Senior Director of Analytics, and this is our journey through data. So first, who we are, Ludia. We are a Canadian-based mobile gaming studio. We were founded in 2007, started on console, did some Wii game, Wii U, but quickly, mobile became a dominant platform, and we pivoted to free-to-play. Shortly after our foundation, we are known to build games and partner with big IP licensors. We work a lot. We're NBC Universal's main gaming partner. And I think, well, right now, we've done a lot of games over the years, but our three biggest games right now are Jurassic World Alive, Jurassic World the Game, and Dragons, Titans Uprising. So one is a geolocation, dinosaur, mid-core combat battle game. The other one is a park builder with more casual dinosaur battles. And the Dragons game is actually kind of a clone of Jurassic World the Game, but with the How to Train Your Dragon. We tend to do that too, clone and reskin our games, So the next slide will be, it is the vision of what I have, what is the purpose of data at Ludia. The purpose of data and the vision is to accelerate the growth of Ludia's gaming portfolio by leveraging data and analytics and insights to their fullest. Below are the business units that we support. These business units should be pretty familiar to you. Just curious, by show of hands, who is from the gaming industry here? Okay, so lots of folks out, media and entertainment, maybe? Well, welcome to my gaming talk, but this probably applies to you. So we're going to go a little bit into detail on two of these big business units that are critical to our product success, just to give you some detail. But actually, who here plays video games? Who spends a lot? No, I'm kidding. Some people do spend a lot. So for product and live ops, we are in the entertainment industry. We need to launch great games. We need to launch games that feel well-balanced. The experience has to be thrilling, fair, and exciting. We need data to do this. We can't just use our gut and intuition, because what your opinion is not representative of the whole player base. We need segmentation. We do a lot of merchandising optimizations, whether they're done manually or automatically. All of this needs to be data informed. We run a store inside of a world. We have a monopoly inside the game. We decide what we sell, typically at what price as well, but we, I'll just be clear here. We don't really segment and target different prices and discriminate. I think we're not that kind of studio. We do other things, but not that. Content is king. It's important to have enough content to sustain your monetization. But if you have too much content and burn it too quickly, one, users get used to it, and so you might not reap the maximum ROI on its release. And two, they get used to it, so they always want more. It's a constant treadmill, and content is expensive to make, so we want to have just enough. And you need data to make that decision. Forecasting and target setting, monthly revenue forecasting. So who here works in a company where the word forecast is mixed up with the word goal as well, Even Hunting at Databricks, are we going to meet the forecast this month? I'm like, what do you mean we're going to meet the forecast? The forecast is a prediction based on what we think could happen. It's like the weather forecast, is like, no rain because the CEO said so. I was like, no, it's the weather pattern, but it's the same. We need to set ambitious goals for our products and set up our teams for success so that they meet those goals. But the goals are not forecasts. I just keep repeating this, but it's a negotiation between our product teams and data science and our CEO, who, no surprise, really likes money. He's great though, best boss I've ever had, on the record. And we do a lot of deep dive analysis to understand really what is the root cause of certain behaviors that we either think are positive or negative to our users. This is Rexy, the most iconic dinosaur in the Jurassic World franchise. And we're going to talk about marketing. Marketing is about maximizing the product channel fit. We got to get the word out. Some games scale very well organically. The buzz goes and people talk. Other games are more niche. Finding the users that are a good fit are harder, therefore we need marketing. Marketing is about allocating resources to the right marketing channels and choosing the best creatives. Right now, things move very fast in the world of creatives with Gen AI, all that stuff, influencers, TikTok. It's dizzying, to stay on top of the pace. You have to optimize your bid strategy. If you bid too much, well, then you're going to never recoup your investment. If you bid too little, then you might miss out on scale and let your competitors actually scoop up these eyeballs. Lastly, it's important also to have very good App Store optimization, good conversion. Maybe people from marketing here, marketing industry, advertising, one. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? You have game clients? No? OK. Marketing is super tough. So our data journey. So this brings us to, I joined Ludia. This is 2021. This is our modern-ish data stack. On the left, we have our source systems. We have our games, backend, client server, generating telemetry events. Adjust is our MMP for, we've been partnering with them for a long time. It, gets the job done. And we have our app stores, Apple and Google, that are also, we pull data from their API. We ingest all this data through some, we used to use Fivetran. It works well, but it costs money, sometimes a lot of money. Snowpipe, also notice that we were Snowflake customer back then. Spoilers, we're not Snowflake customers anymore, in case you had that guessed. And we also had Amplitude for ingestion, but also consumption. Amplitude is a full end-to-end data product performance and insights platform. So processing Snowflake, Jenkins. What is Jenkins doing there? I don't know, But he doesn't belong there, poor Jenkins. And consumption, your usual suspect, Tableau, because Tableau is still a thing. Local Python development environment, so not really machine learning at scale, but at least we're, Conda Env, that's good, and Amplitude. And so, we ran, what are we happy about this? The positive, there are few, but we have to mention them. It's simple and reliable cloud infrastructure, nothing went down, we didn't need to maintain anything really. And in some aspects, we had high level of self-service, mostly because Amplitude allows users to self-serve very efficiently. I don't know what their backend cost is, but it must be stratospheric to see how much you can pivot and get data in semi-real time to a level of granularity that goes from 10,000 feet to almost nothing in seconds. I think they are having high backend costs, but I might be wrong. The negatives, though. The negatives, well, we have dysfunctional orchestration. Obviously, we have Jenkins, And Jenkins, what did Jenkins run? It ran a constellation of copy-pasted SQL scripts on Snowflake. Yeah, exactly, right? It's super dirty. Not the worst I've seen, but, can do better. We have no data quality tests and observability. I'd say that our testers are the people that look at our dashboard. Our CEO should not be a tester. There's something weird in the dashboard. I'm sweating. What again? Very paranoid. No data lineage. This is 2021. If you wanted data lineage, you had to buy a tool, probably like a Monte Carlo, to do invest more, just to have your data lineage. We had new CI/CD. And very poor data governance due to all of the above. We had data silos, expensive total cost of ownership as well, getting close to the 7 figures for a studio, excluding headcount on my team for a studio that was at the time a little bit around like 400 people. That's a considerable chunk of money, Make sure that we get our value. The results, I give ourselves a B+, but I'm being generous in the day and age that a 5-star rating, anything then less than a 5-star is, criminal. It's not very good. It's very painful. The results is we have trust issues, data silos, same metric, different value, depending on who you ask. And you ask the product team, they're going to tell you something. You have the marketing team, you ask the CEO. It was very tough. A lot of manual work. It's incredibly painful to backfill using Jenkins, It's like full refresh, too expensive. Date parameters, they're not in the scripts. Okay, copy paste the script, go to the SQL editor, and hold my beer, It's kind of like Indiana Jones, all in production, That was it, 2021. Very scary. So the big question I ask myself and the team is, how can we increase the quality? reliability, and trust we have in our data without incurring additional costs. That was like, I don't want to spend more money on this, clearly. And neither did my boss. I'd already went to him once because we've exceeded the Snowflake budget. And I was like, I need more money. He's like, I don't like that. I understand. So we said, well, why don't we turn our data engineers and analysts into data stewards using dbt as the common language? And honestly, I know a thing or two about data. I'm not some PhD data guru. I just thrive on delivering value to the business. I've worked with several other cloud data platforms. The lowest common denominator between all of them has always been SQL, And so analysts understand SQL, engineers understand SQL. Everyone really understands SQL or has some level of mastery of SQL. And then there had been a consultant that came in and had built, a dbt marks, and everyone really shot that project down because it wasn't perfect. And there was really like an internal war at Ludia between the data analysts who were on the product and who would sit very closely with product leadership and shoot down everything happening centrally from BI. So I flipped it upside down. I saw the project, and I was like, this is a really cool tech that's been improperly implemented. Let's do that again. So we did turn our engineers and analysts into data stewards. And these are the benefits, shared version control, collaboration, testing, a lot of testing. It brought myself great peace of mind to finally have tests, although they are a bit tedious in dbt. Back then, they're also free, That's the cool thing. So we'll dive into the details of these benefits here. Just pause here. Who uses dbt? dbt users in the audience? 1, 2, 3, OK. So half of the audience is not using dbt. dbt stands for data build tools. To the other people, please call me out on my bullshit, and questions. Ask your tough questions. We've been using it for a few years. But anyway, so shared data model development. So data engineers and data analysts work together to optimize performance. The analysts are always the best at knowing the data. They define the taxonomy, the tracking. The data engineers can't really stay on top of the taxonomy. The analysts always get the tough question. They sit at the forefront, so they know it all. When it comes to implementing, sometimes their SQL chops are not as high as the data engineers, but together it creates a great combo for us. So SQL optimization, things like, I want the last row of this day. Oh, I'll do a window function and row and sort descending. It's like, yes. But it's highly ineffective. Data engineer says you should use max-by. If you don't use max-by is awesome in Databricks. It's much more efficient. You save money right there, and it runs faster. The engineers, serverless compute optimization. One, we use serverless. Coming from Snowflake, Snowflake only has serverless, so that's what we knew. And then we went to Databricks, and Databricks launched serverless compute, about at the same time that we went to Databricks. But choosing the right warehouse size is critical, because if you have a small warehouse, you think you're saving money. Well, the warehouse is actually swapping to disk, and it's ineffective. So don't be afraid to build a regression model or a scatter plot of like size of warehouse and execution time. You might be surprised. So testing, we didn't monitor freshness. We didn't really have a great alert on our source systems. Now we have freshness monitoring. But we test for game business logic and consistency. Like your revenue table aggregate should match the sum of the non-aggregate table. Sounds very basic, but turns out it's not true. So we need to realign and govern our data and check for the right level of granularity, especially if we have sometimes more junior people tinkering with models. CI/CD really helped with that. We now have over 800 tests in our build, and it's not enough. We have now, dbt back then brought data lineage. This is not new. Well, now we have Unity Catalog, which brings data lineage. But who here is on Unity Catalog? OK, about half the audience. Well, back then, this was a big breakthrough for us. We could trace our data and where it's started its journey to its destination. Snowflake didn't have as well anything for lineage. So this was like turning on the lights for us. Data ops, CI/CD, engineers orchestrate the process. We orchestrate our CI/CD in GitHub Action. Back then, we were clients of dbt Cloud, but we were mostly using it to orchestrate the build. They have slim CI in there too. Watch out, if you tick that box and are not careful about what you select, your cloud bill will explode because it's going to test way too much. And then you're going to go and ask your boss for more money for cloud compute. But it sounds so straightforward, but now everyone needs an approval to merge and deploy new code. You need to be accountable for what you deploy, and someone has to, sign off on your changes. You cannot do this by yourself. No one deploys to main by themselves. We are very strict about this. This limits bad code propagation. And also documentation. Everything that's gold in our mart needs to be curated for self-service. We need to have very deep explanation of our dimensions and measures for clarity. This bonus using dbt is published back now to Unity catalog descriptions. And it's extremely helpful. This will set us up for a head start with AIBI Genie. We have probably all been to AIBI Genie talks over the last 2 days, and this is the main thing is get your metadata right. So we already worked a lot on metadata with dbt. We just didn't know, but we're gonna score because of that. And now this brings us to 2022. Goodbye, Jenkins. We now have dbt. We're very happy about this. But this is not the end. This is far from the end. Well, then 2023, gaming industry is booming. COVID is kind of still around-ish. And then Jamcity purchases Ludia for mucho dollars. And our founder is very happy. He leaves us with all the cash. And he's like, have fun with Jamcity. And we did have a lot of fun with Jamcity. They first greeted us with announcing that we're obviously not going to renew the Snowflake contract because they have a very high commitment on Databricks and are not using it to its full potential. So they're like, you're coming to Databricks. And I was like, oh, OK. All the governance and the things that we did on Snowflake, are we going to lose all of this? How long is this going to take us? We didn't really have a choice. So we packed our suitcase and moved in with Jamcity. So we managed to migrate to Databricks in about 6 months while maintaining our governance on our data. Much of the work, for those who know dbt, was related to reconfiguring all our dbt sources, so all the raw or bronze layer of the medallion, cut it off, rip it, and then Jamcity welcomed us with their stack. They have an in-house tracking SDK. They have Avro schemas and using Kafka Confluent, and so it's very rigid taxonomy, which was not necessarily the case for us. So that required a lot of work, reimplementation, and QA, and track also your data quality over time. Once this was done, we restarted the dbt build. The tests ran, some tests failed, we fixed the data, but once this was done, we had reestablished our data governance and kept the lights on our data products that our development teams needed to make and to operate our games. A little bonus here is, well, I should have moved to this slide. I'm confused. I was seeing the slide. A little bonus here is we migrated to Unity Catalog with very little effort. So who here is on Unity Catalog? OK, so not that many people. Of course, hunting. But your vote doesn't count. Who here is considering a move to Unity Catalog? Who here is considering a move to Unity Catalog while also using dbt? dbt user is easy, yeah. Well, easy, I say, because we just have to fork the build, reconfigure, fork your dbt repo, make a dbt Unity Catalog build, reconfigure it to work with your new sources. You might have a little bit of work to do on the sources, but then run it. And then we had parallel builds running, the non-UC build, and we had the dbt Unity Catalog, very easy to QA and track for gaps. There were not really that many gaps, honestly. It's the same source data, just a new build. So if you're on dbt considering a Unity Catalog move, it's extremely easy. We're the first, I think, product vertical to adopt it at Jamcity, and many other product verticals, because they're not using dbt, struggle. It's a big move, if you don't have a system like dbt. Well, then 2025 happened. This is fairly recent, but my boss sits me down in his office with the rest of the leadership team. He's like, big news, guys. I'm like, what, boss? you're quitting? He's like, no, the opposite. I'm like, what? We're gonna buy back our studio from Jam City for an undisclosed amount, which is less than what they paid for. But also the gaming industry also has been hit with tough times recently, sadly. We're gonna recover, but we reacquired a studio. So this is the whole Ludia leadership team in Montreal, and I'm very privileged to work with these guys. Now, we had to re-hit our textbooks. This book, Practical Lakehouse Architecture, was published in 2024. This is the first time we have the keys to the entire lake house. You know, under Jam City, I had to deal with a central data team with architects and stuff. Right now, we have full power on everything. Hunting, Jack, the Databricks team are, you know, we're in good hands. I wouldn't say it's that much of a steep learning curve, but there's a lot at stake, you know. So we need to get it right. We started by my team and I reading this book. I think it's a very good book, and it's not a bias towards one cloud provider. You might not all be on Databricks. If you want to build a lakehouse, you can do it on AWS using AWS Tech. You can do it on GCP. By far, my takeaway is that it's by far the easiest to do it on Snowflake. Not on Snowflake. My God. Could it? They talk about Snowflake, but it's not the easiest. It's by far the most incomplete way of building a lakehouse is on Snowflake. On Databricks, it's so much easier. You know, you get Unity catalog, you get the governance, you get the compute. You want to have, you know, serverless compute. Now you have it. You want to have dedicated compute. Now you have it. You want to run data science at scale. It's so easy to do it. Everything is well connected and governed. So, you know, check out this book. Now this is 2025. We have some new things. We have changed. You know, the source systems haven't changed, but the ingestion has changed. We got rid of Amplitude. And we are now using Kafka, Confluent, Schema Registry to govern our data at the ingestion, ingesting Avro files because they're efficient and small. We now, you know, we're betting on DLT Hub. Anyone here heard about DLT Hub? It's like, yeah, you use it? No? OK, so, you know, I made a bet, said, I'm not going to write Python workbooks starting from importing requests to scrape web API. This is no, I don't want that. But I also, you know, need to decide if I want to build or buy. Should I go to an Airbyte, a Fivetran to ingest, or should we try this tech that's kind of more like a framework for ingestion, a declarative framework for ingestion that we actually run on GitHub using GitHub Action. It's very lightweight and effective. It was not, you know, turnkey out of the box, but fairly easy to set up. So I think it's cost effective for us right now. So, you know, ask me in 6 months what I'll say. Maybe, I hope I still say the thing. Storage and processing, everything is Databricks now. We are now on Delta Live Table 2 for transformation. All our streaming data pipelines run on DLT, and we orchestrate, you know, the batch stuff still on GitHub Actions. Although the new Lakeflow sounds very interesting. We're going to be sure to check that out. See what value we can add on with Lakeflow. Consumption, you know, Tableau and Databricks, and with Databricks, it's going to. We're very bullish on the IBI Genie now, especially with all the metadata work that we've done with our dbt documentation. So, the new Lakehouse is designed with the following guiding principles. These are the 6 guiding principles of Databricks Lakehouse. The first one is curation. Deliver, you know, for us, curation means deliver high-quality data gold layer. So everything that is in gold needs to be ironclad and bulletproof. And we do it with Unity catalog and all the governance and the data quality test. dbt is part of that. Eliminate data silos and minimize data movement. Well, with Lakehouse and Databricks, it's extremely easy. Our Lakehouse is on Google Cloud Platform, so most of everything lands in Google Cloud Storage buckets, you know, or Kafka topics, and it's very straightforward to load that data as bronze layer into Databricks, and then from there, you know, silver and gold, everything lives inside of different workspaces depending on business units, and we can share tables between workspaces too. But these are not silos, you know, but they just organize things. Democratize value creation. Honestly, for us, getting rid of Amplitude kind of turned us into a Tableau dashboard factory, very undesirable. Tableau for self-service, I wouldn't say like using a dashboard is self-service. It's more like just using a dashboard. It's not very powerful. They have Explorer roles, but I feel like AI agents and BI Genie is really the thing that we want to push forward. That means we could also decrease our investment in Tableau for self-service. And also, we were very eager to play with the updates on the Databricks dashboards in general. Adopt a organization-wide data governance. Again, this is so easy to do with Databricks and Unity Catalog. On other cloud platform, it's a lot harder. Open interfaces. We work with a lot of licensors and have a duty to share data back to them. We stop sending email reports and Google Sheets or Excel files. We now use Delta Share whenever it's possible. Now we're just like, come to Databricks and just get the data here. It's always fresh. It's always good. It's easy. Scaling with cost control. Well, so we've done a few mistakes, like turning on the CI/CD and having it run on everything. That was very expensive. Serverless-wise, it's expensive anyway. So with Databricks, we have budget policies, and we tag everything, all our assets for cost control. So we get a lot of peace of mind, honestly, and we get to monitor everything that takes a long time to work. You need to make it a process. It doesn't, come instantly, but assign owners to track budgets and performance, and we usually are able to decrease our costs by finding where are the bottlenecks, especially in the ETLs, and accelerating execution. Even slow-running dashboards, we find it. Databricks has amazing system table now that tell you everything about your users and how they're using the platform. So take advantage of this. It's a no-brainer. So the results, honestly, all of this work needs to impact the business. And I can't really dive into real hard numbers, but I'll say that Live Ops is crucial for our success. Merchandising, just the merchandising efforts that we do on a daily basis, close the gap often with our revenue target, which is 5-10% revenue lift monthly. You quickly make your money back just with that. We get fast and accurate AutoML forecasts when we want to make monthly revenue forecasts. AutoML isn't always, perfect, but I really like that it runs a lot of time series models and checks for performance and recommends the best one. And then sometimes the best one is a profit-based model, and then you just get the notebook and add your live ops events, seasons, and holidays as extra parameters, and then you get an even better model fast. This allows us to set ambitious goals and have our teams really motivated to hit the target. We're really clear with our teams. If everyone hits the target, we'll have bonuses. That's part of extrinsic motivation. It's powerful. For marketing, it's about right-sizing our investments, resulting in increased profitability. If you overspend, you never see your money back. If you don't have data and effective data operation, you're toast in this day and age with marketing. And customer support. It takes time, to understand and analyze all that pile of usually complaints. We very rarely get love letters, although some people have gotten married and have met through playing our games. It's a beautiful story, but it's not the typical story. We're very bullish on using everything AI, all the agents to summarize all this feedback that we get. To make our games better. A one-star review, really, if we can avoid the few one-star reviews that we get due to crashes and other issues, it results in higher organic install pipeline as well, which is really crucial to our success. So, that's the end. And what I want you to remember here is that coming to Databricks, using dbt for us was a lot easier than we thought. We did it in 6 months, and now we have to do it all over again, leaving Jam City's lakehouse, coming to our own lakehouse, and we're confident that we're going to do it in 6 months or less. Depends when the game teams implement the new tracking SDK, but that we can control, And I'd be, grateful for your survey. Please rate the talk. And we have some time left, so ask all the tough questions. I'm more than happy to answer them.